Hey guys, and welcome back to the Geek Vault, episode 2. I'm Dan, and with me today is Matt.
Hi there guys, Matt here, good to be back.
Before we start today, we just want to say thanks to everyone who's listened so far and given us feedback. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, the feedback has been phenomenal. We're so happy that people have enjoyed the first episode, so we're super excited to get into the next one.
Yeah, super excited. Shall we crack on?
Well, yeah, tell you what, let's get straight into it, because I've been looking at a bit of the nerd news that's been going on this week. So, one of the big ones is from, well, I don't know if it's a big one really, but it is quite for me. Ezra Miller. Yeah, I don't know if you've probably heard about this controversy he's been going through recently about him and the new Flash movie. Effectively, there was this video that came out of him choking a woman in, I think it was a bar, whilst out on set filming for the new Fantastic Beasts movie.
Right.
And this has gone viral, this video of him sort of choking a fan by the looks of things. Now, in the video, you could probably Google it or what have you, but it looks like she's smiling like it's a performance bit, and then the camera guy who's filming it kind of cuts out going, whoa, 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 dude. And this has kind of led to a lot of controversy for Ezra Miller. Now, the rumour is that because of this and the backlash that's followed this video, that he's going to be out as Flash in the DCEU, and possibly out of the next Fantastic Beasts movie as well. So that is really hit hard for him. I don't know what the details are about the video exactly and what exactly happened, whether it was like real, whether it was, actually acting aggressive, or whether it was just like a bit, done for the video. He is an actor. It's not too surprising that maybe a fan was like, hey, let's do this little sketch thing.
Wow.
But the repercussions have certainly hit, so he might not end up getting his own Flash movie at this point.
I think I saw something about that on the internet, but I never actually clicked on the link because I just didn't feel like I wanted to read it. But we haven't even got anywhere near to a Flash movie being made yet, I don't think.
No, not at all. Like, he was supposed to be in a Flashpoint movie. I think that movie was supposed to come out in 2017, which is ridiculous. It's 2020 now, and we still haven't got a movie. And it looks like we might never get a movie. Not with Ezra Miller in, at least. Have you seen the video that I'm talking about?
I haven't actually watched it.
It's very short. It's only like 5, maybe 6 seconds long or something. It looks like it's a clip that is taken out of like a larger video, so it might be quite out of context. Like I say, the jury is still out. It's all kind of rumours and speculation as what exactly happened in the video, but it still has caused like a big backlash, and it's causing like the studio heads to have a bit of a reaction to it in terms of Flash and Fantastic Beasts. So don't know what's going to happen with that. It's still a developing story, so I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, do keep us updated on that one. Have you got anything happier for us?
I got a happier one, yeah. This will be good. This is a movie that I'm really looking forward to. Is Extraction, with Chris Hemsworth in it. So it's the new movie by the Russo brothers, with Chris Hemsworth. I don't really know much about it. It looks like it's going to be this sort of military movie. And there was a behind-the-scenes video, I know you saw it too, of this insane action sequence they're doing for the movie, like this little promo thing they're doing for it. And it's this one-er. For those who don't know, a one-er is effectively a long one-shot in a movie. Like the Daredevil corridor fight scenes or anything like that, where it's just one long take going through everything, or in Children of Men, that really sort of intense sort of one shot going through in the car in the city, that sort of thing. Apparently this has an action sequence that is all a one-er that's supposedly 12 minutes long, which is crazy. That's insane for an action scene.
Yeah, man, that is insane. From what I know about Extraction, it's going to be a Netflix original. I saw the clip. Chris Hemsworth shared it on his Facebook page.
Oh, really?
And the way he described it, just watching back the footage was exhausting for him. So I can't imagine how exhausting filming that kind of sequence would be.
It looks really good. I'm actually quite excited to see that movie.
Do you know what the film's about?
I don't actually know. It just looks like some sort of military movie. They all kind of fade into one over time, honestly. This looks like it's going to go in a bit of a better direction, because it looks like they're actually being creative with it. Not many other movies like that have like the time and effort and action to go into like a 12-minute sequence like what sounds like this is going to be. So I'm quite excited to see it.
Well, you've actually not got that long to wait, because it comes out on the 24th of April.
Oh, really?
So not long to wait for that one.
Oh my god, that's like a week away, if that.
Yeah, that's not far.
Oh, damn. Okay. I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for that then.
I'm not sure if you saw, but last night I read an article about J.J. Abrams. He's going to be producing a couple of new series for HBO Max. One of them's going to be Justice League Dark, and the other one is going to be Overlook, which is going to be set in the world of Stephen King's The Shining.
Oh, no, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I think what I am quite excited to see is what Justice League Dark would look like, because I think with DC, as of late, a lot of their best work has come through TV shows.
Yeah, DC definitely knows what they're doing for TV shows. I feel like DC have a very good understanding of what they're doing for like TV or animation, but they have no idea what they're doing for the movies.
No.
They've got no clue.
Yeah, and we talked about Doctor Sleep last week, and after having watched that, it's kind of got me a bit more intrigued about the overall world, and I'd love to know more about the Overlook Hotel, because a lot more has happened there than Jack and Danny's story.
Yeah, apparently, because I haven't watched Doctor Sleep yet, although I do plan on watching it hopefully, well, maybe some point this week. But apparently it goes a lot more into the hotel side of it and the whole Shining side of it, as opposed to just like Jack going nuts in the original Shining movie. So I'm kind of interested to watch Doctor Sleep to see what that is about, but at the same time, I was like, The Shining didn't really focus on that. It was more about the character, like dealing with it, as opposed to finding out more information about it. So I don't know. Maybe Doctor Sleep, when I do watch it, will change my mind on that.
Yeah, you never know until you give it a go. Anyway, last week I gave you a film recommendation to watch.
Yeah, you did.
Pitch Perfect.
Oh, Pitch Perfect. I wasn't thinking about that one. No, you gave me two recommendations. You told me, oh yeah, watch Pitch Perfect or watch Jexi. And you know what? I've seen Pitch Perfect, and I did not want to watch it. I don't remember anything about it, but I just did not want to watch it. So I ended up watching Jexi.
So, what did you think of Jexi then?
I didn't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be real honest. It wasn't good. You know what I was thinking? Because it's, like you say, it was about a guy. It's that comedian guy. Again, I can't remember his name. What was his name? We said he looked like the guy from Supergirl.
Adam Devine.
Adam Devine. Yeah, there's not much divine about him, I tell you that. Not in this movie. He's like the stereotypical sort of nerdy guy. Anyway, like you explained last week, the movie's about he gets like a new phone, and it's Siri in his phone goes kind of ape and tries to like control his life. But Siri exists as someone who can do anything and does whatever she wants to do. And it's awful. I really just didn't like it. It's supposed to be a comedy, but nothing makes sense in the comedies. Nothing's really utilised very well. You got Jexi, who pretty much just controls this guy's life, and it's like starts sending his boss dick pics of him, and starts like texting, like making all these arrangements for like his girlfriend to meet up with their ex-girlfriend to get them back together, or he plans like a car crash or something like that and gets someone hurt, and doing all this crazy stuff. And it's supposed to be funny, but it doesn't. It just comes across as like nightmarish. The entire movie, he's only using Jexi. It's like if you always use Siri on your phone. Nobody only uses Siri on their phone. He never like actually navigates the phone. He's always only using the voice chat. And so when he's trying to get Jexi not to do something, she just goes no. And later in the movie, there's a scene where he's like actually using the phone, you know, like a normal phone, and going through the settings and the menus to like update her so it'll put her to sleep. I'm like, well, why didn't you do that an hour ago before you got this?
I don't like the whole he constantly speaks to his phone. Like, I don't do that with my phone. We've got Bixby on the Samsung phones. I don't speak to Bixby. I'm not really a fan of Bixby.
I've never heard of Bixby.
It's like the Siri of Samsung, and it's not as good as Siri.
What does Bixby stand for, I wonder? What does Siri stand for?
I have no idea, but there's a Bixby button, and when you click it, she comes up, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to you, Bixby, right now.
That's what Jexi should have been like. Nobody should invent Jexi. Like, at the very beginning of the movie, he gets his phone, and it's like Jexi going nuts or what have you, mental, and he gives the phone back in, and he just gets another phone, and it just keeps going haywire because she's in the cloud or whatever. I'm like, just get a different phone.
Surely there's got to be a model without Jexi.
Yeah, surely there must be some sort of user preference, right? What if you're deaf? Jexi's not going to be any use to you then. It's supposed to be a comedy movie, and it wasn't very funny. Michael Pena is in this movie as well. And Michael Pena's great. He's a hilarious guy. But he's in this movie for all of like 5 minutes, maybe, if that. And he also has his own little sort of jaunty bit at the end whilst the credits are rolling when he's got his phone and he's going through the same things. And I'm like, that was more entertaining than the hour and a half of movie that I watched beforehand.
So, overall, not a big fan of Jexi then?
Not a big fan of Jexi. I wouldn't watch it again. I think if you got a couple of beers and you're with a couple of mates, it would be really entertaining.
Yeah, I get what you mean there. Sometimes alcohol just makes a film a bit more enjoyable. So, we watched another film this week. There's a film that's been released on Netflix a week or so ago called Code 8.
Yes.
And it stars Robbie Amell and Stephen Amell. It's an independent sci-fi film, and we both gave that a watch this week. So we're going to have a little chat about Code 8.
Yeah. If we go through the film sort of beat by beat, Like, what kind of happened in it? What's it about?
Code is set in like a futuristic city. There's a small percentage of people that have powers, and initially the people with powers they use to build this city, Lincoln City, the city of tomorrow. And over time, they start outlawing the powers. You know, you're not allowed to use your powers for work.
You have to be almost like registered, don't you, to be able to use your powers?
Yeah, you need to have a permit to use your powers.
Yeah, and apparently permits are very difficult to come by. They cost God knows how much money.
So basically what happens is Robbie Amell, his mum's ill, he's trying to get money to help afford healthcare for her, and he works, you know, trying to find whatever work he can, construction work. Robbie Amell's character is an electric. He's got electric powers. One day he takes the off chance of going along with Stephen Amell, whose line of work is a little bit more shadier than your average Joe.
Yeah, because there's him and a bunch of other, like, I guess, unregistered powered people who are like chilling out outside this like broken down petrol station, I guess. Like, there's a abandoned petrol station who just, people in vans come along every now and again and offer them jobs, and Stephen Amell comes along and offers them a job. It was really difficult for me this entire movie to try and see Stephen Amell as not Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
Especially when he's acting alongside his cousin, Robbie Amell. You kind of already see him as like a bit of a duo like that. So that did take me out of the movie a little bit, but the more you watch it, the more you get into it, he does start acting like a different character, and it is a bit better in that respect.
Yeah, no, I thought Stephen Amell's character, I was quite intrigued by him. I wish we would have learned a little bit more about him.
Yeah, they didn't really go into his backstory a lot.
One of the problems I had with the film was the character development. I didn't care about some of the characters as much as I should have.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. There was quite a few characters all going on at once, and none of them were particularly interesting. Or there were some who seemed interesting, but they didn't get like enough screen time to develop them more. I think one of the girl characters in the movie, who's like a healer and she has healing powers, who I thought was quite an interesting character, and they don't really delve into her sort of powers or backstory any more.
I think the overall concept, the world building, I was very interested in that, and I would have loved to kind of see more of that. But I think the direction they went with the story didn't offer much character development.
The world reminded me a lot of Bright, that Netflix movie with Will Smith.
Yeah.
This felt very much like that, whereas Bright was like, hey, what would happen if it was set in today's sort of world, but we all had like Lord of the Rings-esque kind of lore, and there were wizards and what have you. This felt exactly the same, but if, you know, you just happened to have like superheroes and superpowers just dotted around the place. That world seemed really interesting, and if they had delved more into sort of that world a bit more, it could have been a bit better, because even Bright did that. Bright wasn't a perfect movie, but that kind of delved into the lore of like where the elves and what have you people came from.
Yeah.
Whereas this didn't really do that with the superpowered people. It was more following this drug angle, and there's this whole sort of underground dealership that eventually the main characters get involved with, where there's this drug in the movie called Psych. It gets introduced right at the beginning of the film in this really quick, like, expositional bite where you can inject and extract it from the spines of superpowered people, and then you drop little drops of the drug in your eye, and apparently it makes you really high. And it doesn't really do anything beyond that. I thought maybe the drug would eventually give you superpowers if you weren't superpowered. If you took loads of it, maybe it would have some sort of effect on you, but it doesn't really delve into that. It's just a drug. You could replace it with any other drug and it would have the same purpose.
Yeah, I agree. The drug aspect was it was interesting at first, but not a lot really. It didn't really touch up much on it. There was one person who was addicted to it.
Yeah, if they'd stayed away from that sort of drug angle and gone more to the world stuff, it would have been really interesting. There were really good bits of the movie. Like, there were heist moments where they had to break into places, but they lasted for such a short amount of time. I timed it. There was a moment where Robbie Amell's character, Connor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Gets involved with Stephen Amell, who I can't remember his character's name actually now. But he gets involved with him, and they go off to like rob a bank or something like that, and that's part of the underground job they've got to do. And they go from like planning out the heist and planning out the attack on the bank to doing it in less than 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
You know, they mess up doing the actual heist of the bank, and I'm thinking, well, if you'd taken more time to plan it, you probably would have been golden.
Yeah, because it was like over the space of 3 days where Stephen Amell was training up Connor and trying to like tap into Connor's potential because he's a level 5 electric.
Yeah, I don't really understand that either, because you never really got a sense of the difference between different levels of powers. Like, Connor supposedly is a level 5 electric, it's very high level electric, but he's the only electric we see in the movie, so we don't get a sense of how powerful he is compared to, you know, like a level 1 electric or more sort of standard person. And we don't really have an idea of what other levels other people in the film with abilities are either, so it's all a bit vague.
Yeah, because you see like a few different abilities. Stephen Amell's character, I think it was Garrett he was called, he's got telekinesis, he can move things. There's someone that's really, really strong.
There's a guy who's bulletproof, I know that as well.
And there was like a character that they could melt things with their hands, a bit like a heat kind of power.
Oh yeah, it was the lava woman, wasn't she? Where she could just like hold onto a lock and the lock would melt.
Yeah, so you do learn that there are different powers, and I'd assume different levels for the people with those powers. And I would have loved to have learned more about that, and it could have led to some interesting action scenes.
That being said, some of the action is pretty good. Like, smaller moments of the action are really good. There's a bit near the end of the movie, without spoiling who it is, they kill a guy with a pencil, and I just thought of John Wick. His death was so, like, visceral as well. It was very much in that sort of sense of John Wick style, and that was, like, such a brutal death scene. I loved it.
That was brutal. That moment made me think of The Dark Knight.
Oh, did it?
You know the scene where the Joker makes the pencil disappear?
Oh, of course, yeah. There's a lot of movies where a pencil is like a really destructive weapon.
Yeah, who would have thought a pencil would be so lethal?
What would you give this movie out of like 10?
Out of 10, I love Stephen Amell and I love Robbie Amell, but I think about a 6.
Yeah, I could kind of see a 6. I'd be 6 or 7, 6.5-ish.
Yeah, 6 to 7. I want to say 7, but I just can't. Like, there was a certain death in the film. This might be a bit of a spoiler.
I just tell you what, we'll go into spoilers. You can just go straight into it. Who died?
So there's a group of 4 people that you follow throughout the film. You've got Stephen Amell, Robbie Amell, and then there's 2 other people. And during the second heist, they get double-crossed. And the 2 characters whose names I just can't remember, they get killed. And I just didn't care enough for it to have any effect on me. Like, you could see Stephen and Robbie, they were heartbroken. But me, I wasn't that fussed.
Well, I think, yeah, you're exactly right. I think that's the problem, though, because the only 2 characters you know... Well, I don't even want to say characters, because we only know there was the actor. It's Stephen and Robbie Amell, because their characters are so forgettable. But if you can't remember them, how the hell are we supposed to remember the other 2 people who are in the group? And yeah, none of the characters seem very memorable. That's the problem. So when they do die, you don't feel anything.
Yeah, I think if we spent a bit more time getting to know the characters, then it might have felt differently. But I'm still glad I watched the film. It's something that I've wanted to watch for a while. You know, it has got potential, but it just doesn't quite hit the spot for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if it had gone into a bit more into the direction between like Bright and maybe District 9, it could have been quite a good blend if it had kind of gone down those routes. But ultimately it didn't. It kind of stayed pretty formulaic almost and wasn't that compelling. I think Robbie Amell is a really good actor. I don't know if you've seen him in a movie called Ark on Netflix, but he's really good in that. And he just wasn't as good in this movie. But I don't know if you've watched Ark. It's like this sort of Groundhog Day sort of time loop kind of movie. I'd really recommend it.
I think I might have heard about that.
Came out a few years ago, but I remember watching it. It's got Robbie Amell, he's the leading guy, and I think from what I remember, it's him and his wife in a house, and someone breaks into the house, kills his wife, but every time they do, the day loops and the night loops. And it's Groundhog Day, and he's having to relive that same night over and over to try and figure out how to save his wife. It's a really good movie, and Robbie Amell's really good in it. So I'd recommend watching Ark if you haven't seen it already.
I'll have to look into that one. That does sound quite interesting.
Yeah, ARQ, that's how you spell it.
Talking about Groundhog Day, do you kind of feel you're living in your own Groundhog Day right now?
Yeah, a little bit. It kind of feels like that. Not really doing much. Most of my days now are just watching like different movies over and over. I watched Contagion actually this week. I thought I gotta watch it. It was #1 recommended on the UK Netflix. I was like, you know what? I'll give this movie a watch. And it's not bad. It's not a great movie, honestly, because there's not a lot of conflict that actually happens in that movie. Nothing interesting happens. It's very interesting to see how the world will react to a pandemic, although it's very obviously very inaccurate because it's not how the world's reacting to the pandemic right now.
I remember watching that and just thinking, not a lot really happens.
No, not a lot happens at all. It sets up for confrontations, but nothing actually happens. There's like Morpheus. What's the actor's name? The guy who plays Morpheus. I don't know. Anyway, he's supposed to be a doctor who's working on the cure for the vaccine, but he lets his wife know about it early and like tells her to get out. And there's like this confrontation of Jude Law's character who's like, oh, he doesn't care about everybody because he's giving advice to his family first. How dare he? And it goes on to his superiors like, oh, there's going to be an investigation about this and blah blah blah. And there never is. There's never an investigation. So that confrontation goes nowhere. Jude Law later in the movie gets arrested for trying to spew like false facts about the virus, and he gets arrested, but he just gets let out on bail immediately. He's like in a prison cell for 5 minutes, and that's it. So that confrontation disappears as well. It sets up for all this stuff and then never does anything with it, so the movie just kind of drags on a little bit.
Yeah.
Until they cure the vaccine, it's the end of the movie. It's kind of dull.
Yeah, I get what you mean there. I think when I first watched it, I remember thinking, there's not a lot really going on. It's quite a slow-paced film. But then I think to right now, we're living through a pandemic and time has never felt slower. So I think it's actually taken me having a bit of first-hand experience to fully appreciate what Contagion was trying to do. And the more I think about it, the more I can relate with it, and I can see comparisons with today and the movie. Of course, it is a bit of a bleak movie, so I might skip watching that again for the time being. One film that I really do want to watch right now is Into the Spider-Verse. I haven't seen it since it came out in the cinema, and oh boy, if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it because you will love it.
Oh man, I've seen that movie so many times. Over and over and over. It's such a beautiful movie. Spider-Verse 2 is in the works apparently. Supposedly it's rumoured, I don't know, but because they're saying it's going to be announced for 2022. But that might be another delayed movie because of, current worldwide events. Although it's not confirmed. People are suspecting all that might get moved back, but at the same time it's an animation, so a lot of people can always work from it at home, and it's way too early in development yet to have major delays, so I'm super excited for that.
I think Into the Spider-Verse is probably one of the best Spider-Man films out there.
Oh, it is the best Spider-Man movie, I think. Like, it's definitely the best Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man 2 is really good. Spider-Man Far From Home is really good. Homecoming is really good, but none of them hit just the art style and like the values and stuff of Spider-Man that you get with Into the Spider-Verse. You could watch that entire movie on mute and you could still know what's going on. You could still be massively entertained. And then the soundtrack as well. A lot of people don't like the soundtrack because it's very pop, but I kind of think it fits really well with the world and the character of Miles Morales. It's just such a good movie. It's an old movie at this point, but my God, it's still so good.
Well, I think that's a good place to stop. Thanks very much, guys, for listening.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much. We're really enjoying doing these podcast episodes, so I hope you really enjoy listening to them.
Yeah, and if you do get a chance to watch any of the films that we've talked about in today's episode, then let us know. You can tweet us at Geek Vault Pod. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Make sure to follow us or give us a comment. If you've got any recommendations or things that you want to hear us talk about, be sure to tweet us, leave a comment on something and let us know.
But for now, we'll be back next week.
Thank you so much for listening, guys.